Hello and welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John, where in each episode we'll stroll down the Macintosh memory lane. We'll discuss older Macintosh computers, collecting all things related to the Mac and Apple computer, and current topics from the perspective that only a couple of old Mac fans can provide.
Oh, wow. You see, there's the... I'm messing around.
That was abrupt.
It was abrupt because I thought, you know what? Instead of pressing all these buttons to have the music going with that video, that I would embed the music with the video. Of course, when you do that, as soon as you cut the video, the music stops abruptly. You can't.
We're all professionals. It's okay.
So much for that. That was...
Yeah, well,
a good idea.
next time we'll have it better.
Yeah. This year we'll figure it out. Hey, look, there's a strange face among us.
Oh, not too strange, hopefully.
Steve, well, his name came up last week because we were talking about that Mac that went up for auction, the prototype.
Yeah, the one time I sleep in is
yeah. And he was supposed to chime in and he didn't, and the show pretty much fell apart for the third time.
I'm sorry.
That episode.
I regret nothing. I had a good sleep.
Hey, let's start the show for real, and then we'll talk about why Steve's here. All right, in three. Let's go in three. That's a long three. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John and Steve. This is episode 628 for October 9th, 2022. Good morning, John. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it was last week. We were talking about the Macintosh that was up for auction, that prototype one. A curiosity, we had not seen anything like it. Had you seen something at all? Were you skeptical about its authenticity in the beginning?
It came to me via Reddit. So someone posted on Reddit, someone who I would later on know. They posted pictures of it was the front and I think the side and the lip where you see an identification tag. And so there were just a few photos posted and a flurry of comments. And I commented there saying, hey, if you want more information on it, maybe I could help you out. And it was one of those things where you never know what's on the other side of the internet. You know, somebody could be repurposing auction photos and trying to, claim that their own and all this stuff. And so that's, something that I usually expect. I try not to be cynical, but I've had so many people, send a photo to me and be like, oh, look, I have this thing. And it's like, no, you don't have that. That's an auction photo from 2008,
or it's a Dana Sabara.
Yeah.
No, yeah, really, I own this.
Yeah. So there's so many of these things that you have to, try and be your own little detective with it. What had happened is this person posted some pictures and there was such a flurry of like, oh my goodness, like we want to see more. Look at that weird case that it's in and all this stuff. And they ended up posting more pictures, but Reddit doesn't really make it easy in some of these things because you're just posting like a link. So they were like on a different account and all this stuff. So they ended up posting more pictures and I ended up commenting again. And I guess several other people commented that, yes, go talk to Steve about this, which was very nice because a few of my friends also saw this post and they were like, look, Steve's the guy to maybe help you out with some more information on this. So we got to chatting on a one-on-one and started to learn some of the backstory of what was going on with this system. And all of my concerns of, is this a legitimate item, went by the wayside because it was very clear that, okay, this is a machine that is of that period. It makes sense that this would be owned by somebody who was developing software at this time period. That's why there are some of these oddities because the biggest giveaway was on the back of it. It said Apple instead of Macintosh. Right. And that was one of the like, okay, well, that's clearly not a retail model, or at least, it was shipped earlier. Yeah, there you go. And I'm stalling for time as I'm trying to scroll and find some pictures here because we had the conversation back in July. I was going to
I was gonna save this for later, this discussion, but I think we're already like knee deep. We might as
Well,
well talk about now.
I'm just teasing. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
are we still teasing? Okay.
sure.
All right. Wow, what a tease.
So
I
you
feel
have
like it's
you have
already
to wait.
happened.
You have to wait through all of the 50
Okay.
advertisements you're going to play, and then
So we're gonna get into more about that. We're gonna finish that. Well, we're not gonna finish the story because I know the story is still evolving, but
Yeah.
we'll at least finish that chapter later in the show, as well as share your experience. You went to a swap meet recently, and I think you
Yep.
you I don't, you brought home some stuff. We'll
saw
find
some
out.
neat things.
Good. And then we're going to do the usual things, right? We're going to do eBay finds first before we get to that. So why don't we take a short break and we'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, you got to cut me off, or I'll just won't shut up. So,
let's see. You know what? Before, I just want to show something real quick. I was going to do it at the beginning, but then Steve sucked all the air out of the room, and
such a nice thing to accuse your guest of doing.
do you guys know about this thing? Do you know about how there was
Put that back on.
an era of IMAX where all the hinges were snapping? The 2012 through
yeah.
2018 IMAX, and they're all-in-ones, heavy displays, 27-inch ones, and it was, and maybe John, I don't know when you were repairing Macs if you had to deal with any of these, but it's apparently it's a major pain in the ass and expensive part to replace that hinge.
Wait,
so
Mac stuff being a pain in the ass? No.
Imagine. And anyway, I don't know if it just came up, but I have one. It was mine that finally bit the dust, and then I found this thing online. Just I think popped in as a suggested item.
Huh.
But Mac Hack on Amazon has this cool little attachment, and it just there's no surgery required or anything. It just slips onto the back of the stand and has a little adjustable angle to it.
And you just need one. You don't need two.
Interesting.
You just need one. You could use two, I guess. It doesn't need it. It's strong enough. It's sturdy enough to.
That's pretty cool.
See there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. Some people are in the
I
chat
was the
room
last
saying
one to
they
find
have
out that
one.
these cool things exist.
Garth says he has one, so there you go. That's cool.
There we go. I'm not the only one. So at least two have been sold. Okay, let's
special 4-hour RetroMacCast.
All right, let's go in 3, 2, 1. It's time for eBay finds. Last week we had a 2FX with the original box. This one had been refurbished, which included recapping and I don't know, some kind of upgrading. I can't remember exactly. This one's still available. Buy it now of $1,500, or you can make an offer. Then that's strangely painted. Unfortunately, I can't really get a good picture of it because they've yanked the listing, and this is about as much as you can get. Remember
the banana?
It had bananas. It had
Minions,
Buffalo Bills icons on it, and I don't know. I don't know what happened to it, but it says it's no longer available. So can't report on that beyond that. Okay, and then a Power Macintosh G3 Tower in a box, the original box. That one is still available right now, $799, or you can make an offer on that. Okay, we'll begin this week with this.
I love these old slidey puzzles.
The old slidey puzzle. It says
the old slidey puzzles. Yes.
Apple Macintosh Vintage Sliding Puzzle Game Advertising Federal Systems Group. And I think the Federal Systems Group means the group at Apple that was in charge of selling to the federal government, if I'm not mistaken. They had this little
makes sense. Sure.
Promotional item. Is that what you call it? The sliding puzzle? Is there some name?
Yeah. Wait, so for those listening, so this particular one, it's a 4x4 grid, and you got the little tiles that slide around. It's got an image on it. I like the fact, obviously, this one's never even been used because it still has the spacer holder in it.
Oh, that's what
that
that
you would
is.
remove before you actually start sliding the pieces around.
Mhm.
I used to love these things. Yeah,
Yeah, and
the fact
so
that this one has a nice Apple logo, a 6-color Apple logo on it, pretty nice.
of course the sliding puzzle that's most relevant to us is the one that shipped on. Was it the very first Mac OS that had the puzzle?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
sliding
you have a
game?
puzzle. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it had numbers instead of
Mhm.
pictures on it.
But
Yeah,
wasn't
you
there
could
a
actually
later one that you
toggle
could put
it,
your
yeah.
own picture in?
There
Wasn't there?
was, but I thought, did Apple never have one with their own Apple logo on it? Later
Oh no,
when they went to color.
they have it with the color and the Apple logo. I think at least
That's
System
what I
6
did.
or 7. Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to find it and I couldn't.
Huh.
Don't make me boot up an emulator.
Well, I did. That's what I did. I couldn't. And I found copies of the number one. Um,
Huh.
Don't make John turn 180 degrees and move his fingers.
or
'cause
when
he'll find it.
you solve the numbers, did it give you the picture of the logo?
Well, I discovered only a few years ago that you could actually toggle between the numbers and the Apple logo, even on the newer puzzle.
Oh,
So I don't know if it was a preference or not,
Well, this
but
one's got the jigsaw puzzle.
yeah, I think after System 7.1, it was the jigsaw or something like that. The lovely people in the chat will jump all over us and
Yeah,
correct us.
I can just remember the image of the Apple logo appearing and then flashing, like when you finally put it together. But I couldn't remember what version, and I can remember it being very significant when you had a color Mac, and then that was finally in color. But anyway,
I do like that these physical ones you could actually move the keys around and cheat. So
pop them out, yeah, like a
can't do that on the digital one.
So yeah,
Well,
obviously
I
this is an Apple logo on here.
And
Oh,
what
great.
system is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What system do you have there, John?
Let's see. I think I've got.
I'll edit all of this out.
Yeah.
Oh, this is riveting.
7.1. System 7.1.
And you piece together the pictures of the apple.
Well, you just click on the tile adjacent to the empty one, and
but it's not
slides it
numbers.
around.
And can
No,
you
it's
flip
not
it?
numbers.
I think if you hold down Option or Command and you go to New, it will change it. You asked James. Don't give me that look.
Well, I didn't want an answer. I was just rhetorical.
This is the rhetorical.
Hold down Shift Control. Is it left shift or right shift? And
you
then,
hold, you do a spin in your chair, and
well, anyway, this puzzle,
Don't
the
worry about
physical
it.
version, which is way
Yes.
more simple than the electronic one, is available for $10.50 right now. Is the current bid. It has 2 bids, ends in 2 days, ships from Maryland. A cool little trinket if you get it for a decent price.
Absolutely. I bet you this will go up quite a bit in the next 2 days. I mean, not like ridiculous, but it is a cool little puzzle. Absolutely.
yeah, and it's a nice little trinket that's not going to take up too much space either.
Exactly. Yeah.
There you go. All right, the next one, Macintosh LC. There you go. Take it, John. You got
Yeah, LC 475 with a 250 meg hard drive, 20 megs of RAM, and a 2E card installed. Ding, ding, ding. So this one, it does not have the original Y cable, but it has a really nice third party cable, so you can hook up your joystick and your floppy drive or floppy emu in this case, as they are. Not that it comes with the floppy emu, but that it it's got the ribbon cable connector. It doesn't have the kind of screw in one of the later hard drives. Later floppy drives. But this is $750. Seems a little steep, but
yeah,
the fact that it's got the 2E card and it's got a Y adapter. I wish it said if it was recapped at all, but I don't see anything about it being recapped. But it comes with the mouse, keyboard, an Apple VGA monitor converter, which is nice. So, yeah, I mean, great little system. The 475, that's what I've got. One of my 2E cards in is the 475, and they're a great little system. What can I say?
I think it's a little. I mean, it's
for 750 Canadian.
Yeah,
which is about $550
Yeah, if it was recapped, I'd say that's a good deal. But knowing that you're going to at least sink some time into it. I mean, hey, if you're a savvy person, you want to recap the logic board and the power supply, go for it. But
sure. And the 2E card itself has a capacitor that needs to be swapped out.
Yeah, you could start on that and then work your way up to
right.
Yeah, or if it included that floppy emu too there in the deal.
Yeah, it was sold separately, but
yeah, it's running off.
That would make it a killer deal.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to this. Wow. Look at that. The title, Rare Vintage 1991 Apple Macintosh PowerBook 170 JLPGA Limited Edition. Works. Meaning it works. So we've all seen this one before. It's one of those rare power books that was specially made for the Japanese Ladies Professional Golf Association back in what year? I can't. Is it in the history here? They have a little description, but I don't see. You have to look that one up. But and as such, it's strangely colored. It doesn't have the typical PowerBook grays. It's mostly blue with yellow and red and green.
White lid.
White. Mm-hmm. Yeah, white lid. Yep. There's a detailed description here, which says 0 cracks, minor scuffs and scratches. It says it looks so cosmetically good, it should be in a museum. Even the hinges work. And
well, except for the red one on the back that looks like it's been broken off. It's still there, but yeah.
Where is that in the back?
Very last picture.
There.
Oh, not the very last picture. Yeah,
this one. Mm-hmm. Oh, it looks like it's missing one of the pegs.
One of the pegs. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that could be. You could do something with that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It says the screen's right hinge must have a cracked stud inside because the white top case is separating from the blue. Just
I see it. Yeah, you can see it. Mm-hmm.
Which picture is that it shows that?
Well, that one right there, you could see it in.
Oh,
the one you were just in. Yeah, look on the left-hand side. You see the little gap?
Yeah. Oh, right.
Out of the white lid. Enhanced. Yep, there you go. Yeah, compared to the right-hand side.
Yeah. Pretty minor.
I mean, unfortunately, the biggest issue I see is the tunneling of the screen. That you get. That's unavoidable on a lot of these, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's kind of what mine looks like. It looks like it's a vintage photo when you turn it on.
Yeah,
or an old Macintosh.
Yeah, this is when they have the CRTs in there. It says the computer has been tested to power on, boot, and perform all its duties correctly. The hard drive spins up to a Japanese version of the Mac OS, and the speaker loudly chimes when powered on. Read writes and ejects floppies, keys register, trackball, everything. Screen brightness. Yeah, it doesn't mention that tunneling in the description, but obviously we see that in the picture. Put a new battery in it. And, it does say, it says the only downside of this machine is that it's plagued by the infamous tunnel screen that is prominent in the 170s.
So is that a delaminating issue? What is that, Steve?
I think it's, and a lot of people are trying to combat this. I think it's moisture getting between the layers of the LCD, because some people have even put them in an oven at a very low temperature, and it will improve it temporarily. But it's one of those things where you turn the system off, it goes back to normal. And then I have a PowerBook 180 that does it. It was in beautiful shape, but unfortunately the screen is just doing that.
Cover it in foil and bake for $3.50 for 20 minutes.
Make yourself an apple pie.
Make sure
all right. Well,
tasting it as necessary. Yes,
we won't find out next week because this one still has 8 days to go, but it is up to $1,275 after.
Look at the bag. Look at that bag.
Yeah, was it Power Glove?
But it has an Apple logo on it.
Is it from Nintendo?
Yeah,
right.
Power Glove.
The Power Glove.
That is wild. What is that?
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's even trademarked, the Power Glove. Interesting. Well, who knows what that does to the value of this? So it's located in Clarksville, Tennessee, and we'll at least check in on it next week. Okay.
Michael Mulhern, fix the hinge, spray paint the case, good as new. Nice one.
Before we set up for this, I have some screens to share, so I don't know if you have to like tap a button to give me permission or what the case may be.
I think you can do it.
Okay, great. So let me
You
just
try
get that
it.
set up.
You
Give
see if
me
you can
one
tap the
moment,
button.
please.
I don't
Steve,
think
you gotta push the buttons yourself here. We
Yeah,
can't.
we'll see if I can share a screen on your desktop. I don't know if I have that kind of power, but
So if I
it'd be
click
cool if I
share,
did.
it says your browser has blocked your screen. Click the. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I had that same issue the other week. I say, all right, now I got to go into security settings and say allow
Oh, here we go.
Chrome to.
I could do this. Now I'm not gonna. Don't share that yet because that's gonna
Okay.
be swap meet. But just so we set that up.
All right.
Actually, wait. Where'd the other window go? Sorry.
Well, you can only share one thing at a time. You can't switch among
Yeah,
them.
but I could do different tabs. So what
Okay.
I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up that picture that I saw that I wanted to share.
Okay.
There we go.
Whenever you're ready, just push the button.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you could.
All right, here we go.
Yes, I'm ready, and you could add the screen whenever you'd like.
Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1. All right, as we mentioned at the top of the show, a couple of reasons why Steve is here. The first, to get us caught up on what's going on with that prototype Macintosh computer that was up for auction on liveauctioneers.com. It did not sell. Did the minimum not get hit? What was the?
Yeah, I guess it didn't sell. I mean, we had a little chat about this, and I don't think that that site really represented this piece pretty well. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned like what's the story behind this, because that's what makes this interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're going to give us a little story behind us right now.
Yep.
But there's probably more to come. So you mentioned at the top of the show how you came to be involved in this, and then were contacted, and then where did it go from there?
Yeah, so I contacted Beth Ross, who is the wife of Richard or Rick Ross. You'll see the name in different variations there. And her husband essentially worked as, I think it was a part-time or a contractor for Apple and HP and a bunch of these companies when they used to live in California. And so they're now on the East Coast of the US, but, they have had this machine for ages. And the reason why is apparently he was developing software and working on various pieces of early Macintosh software. And this was the machine that was given to him to do that development. From my understanding, it was sort of a machine they just had laying over, left over. There was nothing that was like cutting edge, I don't think, at the time. But he did a lot of early Macintosh work on this. So it was probably right after or right about when it was going to retail. This machine was the one that was left over. So the picture you see on the screen here, for those of you watching the YouTube stream, this is one of the first pictures that Beth had shared on Reddit. And you can see this was posted about 5 months ago. And you can see that very interesting case of this like little belt buckle holding it in, And the story that was told to me about the case, and everything is with a grain of salt, but apparently either this case was commissioned by Steve Jobs or was presented to Steve Jobs as an example of a case that could be sold with this computer. And what's interesting is you have this top flap on the case, then you have this front flap, but the ports are exposed. So you could almost like set the computer up, plug everything in, and then undo the buckles and I guess free the machine somewhat. So it's a very interesting design. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But
very bizarre.
I've only heard of one other collection that has a case like this. And I believe that's the System Source Museum in Maryland.
Wow. So these were never, as far as we know, they were never mass produced.
No.
Maybe just a couple made as examples. And so that, I mean, like the case might have almost as much story and rarity as the Mac itself.
From what my research, I think there were only a handful of them, like literally 5 of them that were produced. And they have a little area where a badge or a logo could go, and it's just blank. So they probably never came up with a name for it or anything like that. But I think it's a really neat case on its own, and then the computer is just a big plus.
But do you think Apple was toying with the idea of having this as an official case, or somebody outside presented to them
I,
and they
I
just
would
went
guess
with
that
what they
someone
did?
outside presented like, "Hey, this is something that we could create," and maybe they were working on their own tote bag and they went with that.
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe send
You
Apple some
can't,
samples and yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
because you can't fit the keyboard in this. You could
Oh.
maybe fit the mouse in there and some discs, but there's like a pouch on the left, but it's not big enough for the keyboard.
Mhm.
So
I was
maybe
wondering about that when I saw the
like that.
pouch. I'm like, all right, good.
Mhm.
Yeah, so maybe that's why Apple went with their own, or just
Yeah.
didn't want this, because it's not an all-in-one. You would have to carry the
Mhm.
keyboard separately.
Sure.
But I like the belt, so that way if you did
Cool.
upgrade, because later the Fat Mac would come and
Oh, that's funny. All right.
melt the belt a little bit.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, I
James,
had
James,
to.
James.
I'm sorry. I'll go sit in the corner. Okay, so you started. Well, you had hands-on this thing, right? At some point, you had a meetup, and how did that go down?
Yeah, so since she was on the East Coast and she wanted a better understanding of what this thing was, and we had a chat, and I basically said, "Look, things of this age you don't want to just turn on. A lot can go wrong. You never know." So she was kind enough to bring it to me. We weren't too far away, and I got to take a look at it in person. And I'm gonna share my screen of that. Hopefully, it'll let me.
Mhm.
'Cause, for those of you watching the YouTube, you're gonna get a little bit of preview here.
See, there is a reason to watch the YouTube. You're
Let's-
subjected to us, but you might actually see something valuable. In
Okay, you can
picture
add
or
that to
two.
the screen when you get a
Okay.
chance.
All right, there we go.
So these are video clips that I took as part of my appraisal. You're not gonna hear any sound,
Mhm.
but I did try and take video clips of me opening the case. So let's see if am I sharing the right thing? No, probably not, because I'm an idiot. Hold, please. I forgot that quick look is not included in.
Oh, right. It's not shared independently.
Let me do the whole screen. That would
Okay.
be much easier.
All
There
right,
we
here
go.
we go.
Okay.
All right, here
Sorry.
we go.
So here is the machine itself. You could see the Apple logo on the back. So here I am just taking out some of the screws here, and I'm just skimming through really fast to very carefully open this machine up. And there's like handwriting on the analog board there, which is interesting.
Mhm.
So they were obviously playing around with some things,
Mhm.
but I want to show you a bit of this case here. And so that's the case opened up with the little belt buckles there.
Wait. So that's not a keyboard sleeve on the left?
It really would not fit in there. I don't know if it's just contracted over time, but the keyboard would not fit in there. I mean, maybe you could really get it snug in there, but I didn't want to push against the keys on the case, so maybe it contracted.
Got it.
But
Interesting.
yeah,
and that's leather, right?
yeah. So you can see that's how it comes together with these little latches on top. There are little keys on the handle on the top, and you can see in the center that's that oval where it looks like they would have put a brand or something.
Is the handle wood or plastic?
It was bound with leather, it looks like, but
okay.
I'm not an expert with fabric, so what do I know? But yeah, these are just me making multiple.
That is weird.
Yeah.
It's like
pretty looking shots with the thing.
It's like your Mac has been naughty and needs
it's restrained.
A little discipline. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the the pouch in the side, handle and everything. There's the keys on the top, so interesting stuff.
Interesting.
And yeah, here's the bottom of the case. So
okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting case. I think the case alone is quite interesting in this story. But
well, you'd done a detailed analysis of this, and that's posted. We don't need to get into the detail of that.
Yeah.
How cool was it seeing the Mr. Macintosh on the Logic board, though?
Did you
I
squeal?
actually have
I
have my reaction somewhere, but yeah, so there's this little board and you could sort of see in the bottom of there's an EEPROM riser board. So the idea was that these are unprotected ROMs. These are 432K or 416K, whatever it is, the amount of memory there, just because they were writing these new pieces of software to the ROM so quickly. It was cheaper for them to just use what they had and use this adapter board. So this has an adapter board with the 4 ROMs, and it actually boots. They did give me a ton of software that I'm working to archive with Macintosh Garden. A lot of these discs are very, very old and very, very cranky, but a lot of them also have interesting labels that may or may not say confidential on them. So there's a lot of history with this that I would like to preserve, and that's why I wanted to get involved. You can see the little.
Were you also going to try to dump the ROMs?
Yes, more on that after I talk to the owners. But
hey, look at the feet.
Look at the feet.
What is going on?
Wow.
Is that
those
are
Apple logos?
Those are stamped into the rubber.
Oh my god!
I don't know why they wouldn't include that in the auction as a photo, but come on, that's the coolest thing. I squealed like a little girl when I saw
Have you ever seen that before? Even on the other prototypes? I mean, I've never seen that pointed out. I mean, and if they were, they were in such bad shape that it would have rubbed down.
Yeah, but maybe who even looks at the feet? I would have never thought to, unless I looked at the bottom of the sheet.
Right.
Have to be one of those people that's into feet, I guess.
Yeah, but it did turn on. It did boot up. It gave us a sad Mac, but I reseated the EEPROM board, and it was happy after that.
That is amazing, man. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you're going to see the screen sag a little bit because the caps are a little worn, but it's just one of those systems that you really don't see every day. So it was an absolute pleasure to work on. And it is really functional.
It must have. Did you hear if it was like in regular use? I mean, there's a fair amount of yellowing on it that indicates that it was out. And
it was in regular use. So, the memory's a little hazy, but they had at least 3 or 4 other Macs that were 512Ks. So I think this one, and obviously I'd have to talk to the owners a bit more about this. But from our assumption is that this was used pretty early on to develop some software, and then when the 512K became available, they were moved on to that because those 512Ks had some SCSI upgrades and some other stuff. So those were really the more powerful systems. I guess you would have more memory and disk space to play around with development, especially because you're dealing with uncompressed things like that. But this machine booted up, and it looks like it was heavily used, but it's also in pretty darn good shape. There's not charges in it or anything.
So it didn't sell. What can you say about what happens next?
Well, I know that they're going to work with me to try and reassess what to do with it next. I think what they would love if it would end up in a place that would lovingly, have it on display and or restore it. Just send us a check, James, and we'll see if it clears. But I think that it, from the outside, you obviously have the differences that make it a prototype. And then from the inside, you have that EEPROM adapter board. And there's a red LED that's soldered in with the resistor on the board. And there's a place for that on the retail boards. So, I took some nice detailed photos. We could probably reverse engineer the red LED. And all it does is tell you the board is on. But I just thought that was neat. I never saw that on a logic board of these machines.
Wow.
Awesome. I think we'll hear more about this. I hope to do a proper interview with Richard about this machine because he's got some great stories to tell about Apple back in the day, and we'll see what he's allowed to disclose. I've been keeping my tongue a little, stuck in my mouth. I don't want to say too much, but a lot of interesting stuff about this machine that I hope will come to light, and it'll make a great museum piece for people to look at.
And now that you know that there's at least one of these out there, you're out on the swap meet circuit trying to find another one. Find your own.
Yes, well, a machine like one. No, I didn't find one. But a machine like this, it's one of those things where it's like, do you restore it or do you keep it original and not break it? Risk, breaking it. But and Patrick,
easy answer.
That is true. In the chat here, there's a thing about the Lisa. There were Lisa discs found that were provided with me, so I'm sure there's more of this story to uncover. But
because that was my understanding too. That it was mostly stuff that was developed on the Lisa. Yeah, due to the limitations on the 128K Mac.
If they find a Lisa, I'll be there. So sort through their boxes. But a lovely couple. They've been nothing but kind to me, and I really hope for them the best with this machine. And I'm going to work my magic with them to try and find it a good home.
Good. Well, tell us about this swap meet you went to.
Sure. So this was the VCF swap meet, and this takes place in
This is the
Walden.
one in. Okay, so wait, it was not the Chicago one. This was a different one. What was it?
Yeah. So VCF Midwest was September 10th and 11th. So I did a whole video about that, and that was fantastic. You have a bunch of YouTubers there. You have some crazy, awesome collectors there. And if I showed you photos from that, we'd be here for 5 hours. But that was a great event. Really the biggest event I've ever been to. And it was just
great.
Awesome. But this, I just want to share a few pictures of, because this was literally yesterday. So it's a bit more fresh in my mind. And what was nice about this is it was a bit smaller. So, you have a bit of a better grasp on things, but there were plenty of Macs and Apples on display, which was always nice to see. So we have an Apple IIe here. We have a Mac Plus. The prices were fairly reasonable.
What is that weird case thing there on the? You see that in the picture?
The kind of angular. Yeah, go to the one you were just at.
Oh, I think that was a monitor stand for some. It wasn't for a Mac. I think it was like there's a sort of a U-shaped piece of plastic under it to like rise.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think in another picture you can see it a kind of a side view, and I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There you go.
I see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were quite a few machines here. This is an LC 520 for only $10. It was missing the logic board, but really, you paid more than $10 for anything else. But the prices were decent.
Can you open that again? That last picture. Every time there's something weird in every picture. Like this one, I'm looking at that lower left board with keycaps or something.
Oh wow,
what's
it was an ELF. It's a it was described to me briefly. I think it was like a trainer or a programmer type thing for you to get used to microcomputers.
Kind of bizarre to see
there was so many
on a logic board, but okay.
Yeah, I guess it saves space.
That's an original all-in-ones.
Yeah, that a nice
we also had
Quadra.
Yes, that was a tangerine.
Nice.
It's
a flavor I don't have.
Tangerine. You don't have. Oh, I should have known. I would have bought it for you and drove it down. Got a bunch of newer stuff here. Some Mac Pros.
Oh, yeah. Ton of Mac Pros. Wow.
And pretty reasonable too. Some beautiful displays they had as well.
Now this event was for I take it all computers. What fraction would you say was like Apple stuff?
I would say there was good 20-30% of Apple stuff.
Okay, all right.
A lot of Commodore stuff, a lot of Amiga stuff, a lot of other cool stuff. But then there's this monstrosity, which my friend picked up, and this is PC Tower with a working PC, and cut and cornered in there is an Xbox, a PlayStation 2, and a GameCube.
Oh my gosh!
and a cigarette lighter.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a cigarette lighter. Like, no way.
So yeah,
you want a cigarette lighter in your computer.
I mean, you're using up so much other energy. Why not?
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. It's probably not even any special heating element. You just put it right to the top of the processor.
Yeah, someone was too concerned of if rather than if they should. So
that's cool.
All right.
And there was this. I'm gonna have to flip the photo, so just give me a second here. If it lets me. Why doesn't it let me rotate the photo? Come on. Well, anyway, this is.
We'll just turn our heads.
Yeah, this is a little plaque that someone made.
Oh yeah, I've seen something like this before.
It's got all the different processors on there. Nice.
Yeah. So
and is the actual processors, or are those just pictures?
Yeah, the actual processors.
Wow, look at that.
Some of them are like the ceramic ones, which are nice. And sorry,
what did they want for that?
I didn't ask because they seemed extremely proud of it, and so it was probably way out of my price range.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. Wow.
Yeah, but there was a PowerBook 165 for sale. They were asking 80, but they were going to go down to 50. Missing the battery cover, missing the original power supply. The screen wasn't recapped, but it was in good shape. The bands you see there are just an artifact of my screen, my phone, my camera.
Photo, sure.
But yeah, it was great to see all. I mean, look, they have these like huge professional U-matic things, like stuff you would only see at a swap meet.
So where was the swap meet at? Did you say?
This was in Wall, New Jersey.
Wow.
VCF puts it on, so vcfed.org. They'll
Nice.
post the events there.
Mhm.
As
But
Patrick in the chat mentioned, this is a great place to pick up monitors, so you don't have chip or anything, because you know how brittle all this plastic's getting.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
And there was a
So
free
being able to
stuff
go
pile.
to a swap meet in your car and just take, I would love it if there was enough of a community around here to do something
Yeah.
like this, but
Community
it
is
would
you
never,
and me,
it would never
John.
flow. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
If we give each other
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying. Right. Yeah, this is not a great area for kind of vintage stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't think that you would have a lot of this in New Jersey either, but apparently this event has been going on for a while. This individual brought tons of stuff, from Atari
see.
to
Wow.
Amiga to
Wow.
I
Coco
see a
to
K Pro in there. Wow.
Yeah, there's a K Pro. He had some IBM towers. This is a iMac G4. He had some Intel and G5 ones. What I kept laughing at and people kept joking about is this monitor said Steve's on it. So there's a label on it. It said, Steve, that's your monitor, you know.
So what did
No,
you get?
I did grab. Yeah, I got some cables and connectors, some SCSI stuff. I also grabbed a very odd 4 SCSI enclosure tower that had 2 jazz drives in it. So of course I have to put 2 more in there and make a RAID out of it or something silly.
You'd have a jazz quartet, I think.
Oh no.
James, because you made that joke, I have to send you pictures of it running. So there you go. That's the challenge I have now.
I'm sure it'll be music to your ears. So listen.
Oh no.
Clicking away.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to put a special tag on this episode of the podcast. Warning: cheese included.
Cheese included. I did pick up that SE30 case in the back.
Okay.
There. It was in very good shape. The guy did not sell it, so he gave it to me for free. I am doing some recapping for him, so it was a sort of a tradesies. I picked up some of those keyboards you see there, and that's my friend Tom who got some of the stuff there. And some PowerBook parts. Here's were some PowerBook 5300s that were in very rough shape, but he had a stack of 4 of them. So I figured I have one that's not in the best shape. Maybe we could make a happier one out of that. So, and some discs and floppies to fix, and the front cover of a Radius PowerMac clone that someone gave me. Just the front faceplate for like the 8100 clone. But
the important thing is, did you actually get rid of anything?
Yes.
Okay.
And my wife was very happy. I had the people who Beth and Rich, who gave me the prototype to look at, they actually brought a bunch of PCs, and one was some Dell Dimension, like new in the box, basically. And I had that on the table, and I just gave it to someone. I said, "Look, I don't want to take this home. Like, please."
It's a Dell.
They were happy. I was like, "Dude, you're getting it out of my garage."
What was the ad campaign? It's like, dude, you got a Dell or something? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and I got rid of a big old satellite dish I had. Somebody took it, so I was happy. Improvise with the jazz system. Oh, horrible.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing with us. We just have to live vicariously since we don't have that kind of community in our area.
I always hear that whenever I post pictures and videos of this stuff, but I think that if you can get enough interest locally, you never know if you could maybe do something like this once a year, because that's what these are. These are once a year.
Yeah.
So you never know. There's a lot of crossover webcams.
And in our case, it's I'm sure there are people, but it's the critical mass. You have to have the population.
I need to check with the the Atlanta has a vintage computer club.
Oh yeah.
Just see if they do a swap meet besides the one at Vintage Computer Festival Southeast. Might be fun to go up there, an excuse to see some friends and get rid of some stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, you never get rid of everything. You're swapping other crap with other people.
You just don't tell the wife that part. You just say, "Hey, I got rid of some stuff." You don't have to tell them about the stuff that you.
How much did you bring home? What's for dinner?
All right, we're gonna switch over to the news. Just a couple of stories here. Let's go in 3. Oh well, let's put it.
And at the end of the news, I'll do that plug for that video I did. That's all. So
the plug for what video?
Yeah, let me send you the link real quick before you start.
Oh. How fast
Typing as fast as I can. Typing as fast as I can.
I think he's fake typing.
Fake typing. All right, gonna Skype this.
Skypey. Oh, yes, that video. Yeah, we can do that in the very end. Well, we'll do it.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, we'll do it on the outro.
Mint Mobile can be good at just $15 a month. So
we'd like to welcome our special guest, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
How could you afford him? I got nothing.
Okay, let's. We're gonna talk about that later. So let's take that down. What are we talking about next? We're talking about this. Okay, here we go. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're going to talk about some news. Jocelyn McDonald on jocelynmcdonald.com put together a do-it-yourself ceramic Mini Mac 128K powered by a Raspberry Pi. Ceramic because it's a piece of pottery, right? It's she combined her two loves, I guess, old Max and clay, and created this thing. I bet it's heavy, and I wonder it probably doesn't dissipate heat so well.
Was there a size in here anywhere? I was trying to find something.
I think it's
I can't tell how big the screen is or anything.
Yeah, I think it's scaled to the original dimensions.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay. Yeah, that thing probably is quite heavy.
Yes, as I sculpted the piece using the original Mac 128K specs, I started considering how fun it would be to add a Raspberry Pi and a touchscreen. So, it's original scale there. And then, but the monitor cutout's a little bit different to accommodate the screen that she chose.
Sure, yeah, because that looks like a standard 16:9 aspect ratio screen.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But it's fun. Different materials at your disposal. Haven't seen one using this kind of material. Speaking of which, I'm trying to think if we've seen like a very nice wooden one in a while. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, remember the one done by Holton? I believe it was.
I don't remember.
Dark walnut.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot about 3D printing. A lot of people are doing the 3D printing, but people need to remember.
Of course, then you get the ones just made out of plastic.
There's other stuff.
Cheating.
Yeah, there you go. So that's over on jocelynmcdonald.com. And Dana Sabera, NanoRaptor on Twitter is up to her old hijinks here, and here's a floppy disk, a HyperCard floppy disk, and it's got a USB-C port on it. Which would be awesome. Imagine if you could just hook up your floppies like this for direct transfer. They had a little USB interface.
You hit transfer and the files would go over and too quickly. You wouldn't even know what happened.
Yeah, I guess wouldn't that be funny if it had a little chip in there and it was stored both on the disk and the chip? Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating, but there's no space.
Come on, James, get to it. Create it.
Yeah, work on that. Yeah. And then there's this. Now this one I think John and I are talking about this before, trying to figure out what was going on here, but I believe this creation was inspired by an earlier attempt at some humor by the company Kensington. Now this is the twin turbo mouse. This is 1989. An innovative problem for so many solutions, and it's a Kensington turbo mouse, but it has two mouse balls. I gotta be careful what I say here. I'm trying to avoid innuendo.
We're all adults here.
Well, yes, that's the problem. We have adult humor, but yeah, it's got two Kensington turbo mouse balls on one peripheral, but yet doesn't increase the number of buttons. And so that's wild. Like, is it two-handed? Must be, I guess. I don't know. But then she posted this link to this advertisement. And from what we can figure out, and it was linked to some site that was just storing the image. And so here's a picture as an advertisement. It shows the Kensington Turbo Mouse with the twin balls, and it says claims versus acclaims, and it says a lot of manufacturers say they have the best trackball, but only the Kensington Twin Turbo Mouse has the awards to prove it. It goes on to say about what it can do. Let me go to, let's see, navigating the screen is easy with the dual balls. You can chord the ball rotation like no other trackball. Smooth ball movement in X, Y, A, and B axis allows multidimensional mouse movement up, down, into, and out of your display. Chorded with the extra buttons, and you can break time. Move the mouse to after you've written that report. Break causality. Repair it with a simple chorded click, drag, roll, swirl, roll, up, down. The next time you read another claim for a trackball, remember the original Kensington Twin Turbo Mouse. So yeah, time travel, I guess, is possible with this thing.
Of course, you spin those things fast enough, anything can happen.
I also like the outside the USA call 41 roll click 2 chord swirl 58 spin.
Yes, and then even the inset image there has the hand. Now there, see, it's on the right hand on the left ball. So I don't know if you cross arms. I'm not sure how you actually.
Well, you need a friend there with you to help.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, a very close friend, I guess, to handle one of. I keep drifting that way. I promised myself I would not.
No, we want to go up, not horizontal. Wait, no. Click, drag.
Fun stuff.
But
all right,
you can look at an actual ad.
Oh yeah, the actual ad. This is the actual ad right here, from that time. So there's what it's supposed to look like. That's if you just have the one ball.
No, yeah, because we were like, what's this weird chording thing? And no, that's actually in the real ad. Is talk about chording gives you.
Yeah, chording is what they said when you use 2 buttons at the same time. You could program it so if you hit 2 buttons at the same time, you get a different action. So
3-button emulation.
With 2 balls, you chord the balls, as they say. Okay, I think I got too close to the line there. All right, well, that's it for the news. Okay. Oh, I'm sweating. Trying to maintain my NSFW rating.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was very suitable for work, especially if you're in Kensington's factories.
Yeah. Okay, let's close out the episode. Let's do that in. Let's see. Wait a minute. Let me pull something up for reference. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, we made it to the end of another episode of the RetroMacCast. Thank you, Steve, for joining us and sharing with us and the audience the rest of the story behind that prototype Mac.
Sure. And, thank you for having me.
Yeah, let us know where it winds up so that maybe people can go see it someday.
I'd be happy to. You'll get the first.
I'm sorry?
You'll get the first scoop.
The first scoop, good. After you, that is.
Yeah.
After you do a 2-hour live stream on it, then whatever crumbs are left unsaid.
You know me well. I'm sorry.
Check out Steve's Talking About Macs. He and Ron from Ron's Computer Videos do a nearly 3-hour marathon.
It's a masterclass, really. It's everything from the 84 Macs to like the beige ones that they stopped selling in 98 and 99. And it goes over everything of like what you should collect, why you should avoid this machine or that machine, all the pitfalls and things from reefer caps to capacitors and everything. There are chapters in there, so you can really easily skip around. We did the original talk at VCF Midwest, and we were truncated a bit due to time constraints, so we didn't have too much time. So we really just said, you know what, let's just go all out and talk about everything. And if you scroll through the playhead there, you'll see there are different chapters. We go through different machines. And what I've done is I've inserted B-roll from my footage that I've had amassed through my channel of things. So when I talk about an HDI 45 connector, I show you what that is. So you don't have to have any knowledge of these machines when you come into here. And the great part about this is we encourage comments. So if you are new to these machines and you watch this, or you break it up into a few pieces and you make it through, if you have any questions, there's a few links there, and basically comment in the YouTube channel to try and help you out. But we've also collected, at the end of the video, we go over all these great resources like Tinker Different or lowendmac.com and all this stuff of how to find out more information about these machines, because we think that, yeah, these machines are great for us, but a new generation is discovering them, and whatever we could do to try and help facilitate people understanding machines, how to test them, how to get software onto them, because there's, as you guys know, there's so many pitfalls when you're just starting out. You need more than one Mac to get going. So we try and help out people here.
I noticed that you speak quickly enough that you're actually, I think you're in sync with the video that we're playing. I was trying to watch and see which one it made more sense. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, you can't have more than two Steves on the show. I think something will break. But I had a great time with Ron. It was his idea to do this presentation, and he graciously invited me to be a co-host. So please check out that video. It's a bit of a long one, but really it's very comprehensive. We wanted to put everything in there to not leave anything to question.
That's great.
Nice.
It'll be a great resource for years to come.
Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we ought to wrap it up. Or can you share quickly? What's your next thing on your to-do list? What's the next project?
Oh boy. So I am finally getting other eyes on the second part of my Macintosh clones video. So I'm getting some eyes on the script to make sure that I have factual details correct. So if you guys get a very long Google Doc in your Skype inbox, you know why. But it's going to cover basically the transition from 68K to PowerPC and all the internal power struggles that were going on.
I see. All right. Well, great. Well, we'll look forward to that. Until next week, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
Okay. All right. Every time now it's free time. Huh?
I think about every time John says that, I think about the time I tried to say it when John wasn't on the show, and how, James, you just roasted me. I was just, I needed one of those. I felt like one of those Intel hazmat people on fire from that old Apple ad, I tried to be like it's retro, and you're like, what was that?
Well, I must have done that after we were off the air.
I don't think so.
Praise in public, shame mercifully in private.
Oh God.
Or is it the other way around?
I don't know, man. But I did want to share a funny picture I have, because you were talking about that ceramic machine, and I did something sort of similar, and it was here. Let me get the picture up here before I blather on. So this was, let me share my screen. This was at a consignment shop that my wife frequents, and it was the rare time that she actually suggested that I buy something. Usually it's the opposite way around. It's this.
Look at that!
What?
That is
weird
awesome.
Lamp, which makes, if you look, the more you look at it, the less it makes sense. Because the keyboard's up here,
all the sense in the world.
Buttons here. There's like extra vents for no reason. Whatever.
Wow.
So,
that is great.
My wife actually encouraged me to purchase this, and I said, okay, why not? And then I got the crazy idea to actually put a real screen in it.
Oh.
And so this is what ended up.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
So I had to Dremel out the center of it with the drill and Dremel and all these tools, and yeah, I mean the thing wasn't in great shape. The paint was chipping on the front and the back, so it wasn't like a collector's piece or anything like that. But I had this little screen that I guess was for an automotive purpose that I picked up like for $2 at a yard sale ages ago, and I just stumbled upon it after I bought this lamp, and I said, well, I think that's fate. Now I have to combine them. So there's a Raspberry Pi in there with a little screen, and you put anything with composite video into the screen. So it was a lot of fun to check around.
Nice.
I filmed the process. I actually have to release a video about that. That was 2 years ago, so see how
wow.
I am.
Yeah. So Could you figure out anything more about this particular lamp? I mean, there
No,
must have been others
there
made. If somebody went to that effort, there must have been multiples. Like there was
there
no
must have.
manufacturer.
No, there all the stuff on there was like a paper bottom, and it was all
Yeah.
worn away. So I
Yeah.
tried reverse image searches and everything. If anybody has seen a horrible monstrosity like this in a thrift store with an intact label, I would love to know the crazy people who made this. But, but unfortunately, I do not know.
It kind of reminds me of you'd go into furniture stores and they'd have like the office setups of the furniture, and they'd have a big fake plastic computer on the desk. It's like somebody like took like 8 of those and just randomly glued them together.
I don't know. This looks like something that Packard Bell might have made, actually.
Yeah, it to me it looks more like a cash register than a computer.
Yeah, like an ATM almost. Yeah, it's like
because it has that design language of like you have to know what the heck you're doing, and you have to not fuss around with this.
Yeah.
Here I have 2 more pictures related to this. Sorry. This was me drilling into the damn thing. So that's
jeez, holy cow!
It was involved. That was pretty thick. And then I was placing the LCD. So a lot of refinement and a lot of cursing and cussing and cuts on my fingers insert, but it was worth it, I think.
Yeah, look, I mean, your final results look really nice.
You could drill out one of the buttons and put an actual button.
I was going to say, do you on the Raspberry Pi? Do you actually have like RetroPie on it or something like that? Is it okay?
Yeah. So the original idea was to put the Pi inside of this, and to maybe drill out little buttons and holes and things like that. But the prices of Pis were so high at the time that I just decided.
The Pis never have recovered price wise, have they?
No. So I did add this little cardboard paper bezel thing, so you don't see like the depth or whatever. But
I see.
Yeah. So it's sitting currently on my desk downstairs, and every time I walk past it, I laugh. And multiple people on Twitter said, "If you ever get rid of that, let me know. I want it." We have similar.
That's funny. Well, there are at least 2 ceramic-made computers, then, as we've learned.
Yes. Mine, I think, looks a little nicer.
So, that person we talked about earlier thought that they had the scoop, but you started off the whole trend, as it turns out.
I mean, mine has a lamp too, so how about that?
So there was one other thing on that, James, that you forgot to mention was they have on the website for the ceramic. They mention the GitHub to simplify installing Basilisk and Sheep Shaver on the command line Pi.
Okay.
Yeah. I just if you include the link to the to that ceramic Mac, anyone who wants to check that out. So the ones that I've got are booting into the GUI. It's hidden. And then it's booting right into the emulator for the Basilisk one I have, and then for the Mini Mac. But I would have to think, going directly from command line to the emulator is going to be even quicker. So I'm gonna have to take a look at that.
Yeah, here's the page on GitHub. JaroMaz, JaroMaz on GitHub. So okay, cool. Really all right, well let's wrap it up. And we'll see everybody next week. John, are we good for next week?
We are good for next week.
Okay. Thanks again, Steve. Everybody.
No worries.
We're gonna
soon. Thanks for inviting me.
We will sign off and see everybody later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the RetroMacCast with James and John. Email listener comments and questions to retromaccast@gmail.com or post comments on our website at www.retromaccast.com.